And we have Chelsea, who is going to introduce the Time for All Ages for us. Can anybody find Chelsea?
There we go. I think I've been unmuted. Can you hear me?
We hear you. I don't see you yet, but
if you put it on speaker view, I'm sure it'll pop up because then it just picks up
whoever's. There you are.
Yeah. So first we're going to light the chalice, right? I didn't pull up my order of service. Sorry.
Yes, we're lighting the chalice.
I am lighting the chalice. So here's my chalice that I've had since I was in high school. I'm going to light it. And please speak the words with me. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. May we shine a light of love. May we shine a light of love. With every thought, with every step we take, may we shine a light of love. May we shine a light of hope. May we shine a light of hope. With every thought, with every step we take, may we shine a light of hope. And for our Time for All Ages today, children, youth, and adults have all sent in pictures of things that we are grateful for to share with you today. For those couple of people who sent it in a little later, and I'm sorry it had already been made, your pictures will be included next week when we are collecting pictures of ways that we can help one another. So a little more abstract, but I believe that you're all up to the challenge, sending in pictures of ways we can help one another. So I hope you enjoy our slide. Thanks, Amandalyn.
Thank you, Chelsea. Our centering words this morning come from Facebook, but the author is unknown. We are all in the same boat. We are not all in the same storm. For some people, it's sprinkling. This is a break. This is a breather. It's a pause in the normal. It's a time to reconnect with family and slow down. Honestly, it's kind of peaceful. For some, it's a storm. It's a bit scary. It's disruptive. It's enough to make you stay up and watch the news and worry. For some of us, it's a hurricane. It's tearing at the boards and pulling off the roof. It's washing us out to sea. It's dark and unknown. It's life-changing. It's not wrong to be enjoying the sprinkles or enduring the storm, but please don't negate the difference. Rest with family, but don't minimize the hurricane engulfing your neighbor. Laugh at a meme, but get on your knees for your friends. Get in somebody else's storm. And now we have special music from Kathleen.
When I look into your eyes, your love is there for me. And the more I go inside, the more there is to see. It's all too much for me to take, the love that's shining all around you. Everywhere, it's what you make. For us to take, it's all too much. Floating down the stream of time, from life to life with me. Makes no difference where you are or where you'd like to be. It's all too much for me to take, the love that's shining all around you. All the world is birthday cake, so take a piece but not too much. Sail me on a silver sun, where I know that I'm free. Show me that I'm everywhere, and get me home for tea. It's all too much for me to take. There's plenty there for everybody. The more you give, the more you get. The more it is, and it's too much. It's all too much. It's all too much.
Thank you, Kathleen. Are you guys seeing me, or is everybody still seeing Chelsea? Amanda, are you seeing me or Chelsea? Because all I see is
I'm
Chelsea.
seeing you.
Okay, I see you, Chelsea. I've been seeing you the whole time. All right.
Oh, I think maybe because she has her hand raised.
Oh. So, all right. This is Easter, and we're learning how to do Zoom, and I love that everybody is so patient with how we are doing this. So when we left off last week, I said, I'm so glad that Holy Week doesn't end with Good Friday, because that would be a nightmare. I said, a lot can happen in 1 week, and today is Easter. It's a new day. Is the virus gone? Have we figured everything out? Is the fear engulfing many of us gone yet? And unfortunately, I think the answer is no. I still feel the underlying anxiety and fear in the air. There's still a sense of uncertainty, and especially here in Western Colorado, many of us are wondering if we are experiencing the calm before the storm, knowing that we are a few weeks behind the East Coast with this virus. But today is Easter, and because today is Easter, I get to bring a message of hope. I get to bring a message of joy and optimism. And last year, for Easter, I asked the question, what does Jesus feel like? And when I closed my eyes and I went within, the answer I came up with that was love. Jesus, the Jesus I know, feels like love. Love at every expression. I go back to the image of Jesus I had as a child. This beautiful, loving, gentle man who could always see beyond what appeared before him to the essence of the human being inside. Let the children come to me, he said. Let me see the holiness in that woman. Let me see the beauty beyond that leper's horribly painful looking skin. This is the Jesus I was raised to know. An example, a role model of perfect, embodied love being expressed in human form. And this reflection gave me an aha moment last year. I realized that what happened when Jesus came into the world was that he brought with him a level of consciousness that, while always existing, because all levels of consciousness always exist, this level had not yet been expressed in that part of the world at that point in time. And I say this because I don't believe that Jesus was the first or the only person to embody and express that level of consciousness. 500 years earlier, a prince named Siddhartha, later to be known as Buddha, exhibited a similar understanding of ultimate reality. It was the expression of that level of consciousness that changed the world. It wasn't so much the man, but the new example of how human beings might be, how they might understand and express themselves. This is what Jesus brought. This is what the Buddha came to understand. And this is how I understand the concept of Christ consciousness. It's a state of being. It is a state of being that we can all experience. It is a level of conscious expression that a being in the form of a man named Jesus came to the world and expressed through his lived life. And once it was expressed, it became real, and it was here forever to be tapped into. The invitation was for the rest of us to tap into it. These things and more shall you also do. That's all. It wasn't ego worship he was talking about. It was an expression of alignment with something called love. I and the Father are one. Alignment. In 1841, Theodore Parker, one of the fathers of Unitarian thought, wrote in his classic sermon, The Transient and Permanent in Christianity, quote, "The word that was before Abraham in the very beginning will not change, for that word is truth. From this, Jesus subtracted nothing. To this, he added nothing." In other words, Jesus simply expressed that truth and reminded the rest of us that we too can tap into it. And this truth has no beginning and no ending. It's just there waiting for people to tap into it. And so this year on Easter, I ask a similar question. What does a resurrection feel like? We always talk about Easter and the resurrection from the perspective of those who watched Jesus from an outsider's point of view. We see the resurrection as something that happened to somebody else a very long time ago, and that somebody else was separate from us to the point that we have turned him into God. So how can we possibly relate to the concept of the resurrection as anything other than as an outsider? For many of us, it's a nice story that doesn't necessarily translate to those of us who feel like we are still trapped in Good Friday. So we gloss it over or ignore it or remove ourselves from it, telling ourselves that something that spectacular is not meant for us. But I want us to take a moment to think about this. What does a resurrection feel like? This is a very serious question, and I want us to sit with it for just a moment. Last week, I talked about Holy Week, and I talked about the feelings associated with Good Friday. Most of us can relate to the feelings associated with the crucifixion, the feelings of fear, the sense of loss, the isolation, the pain, the loneliness. We know what that feels like because those experiences are very much a part of the collective human experience. But how many of us have actually taken the time to embrace or reflect on what it feels like to be resurrected? To wake up one day and have a completely new paradigm and understanding of life. The feeling that comes with those aha moments when all of a sudden something becomes clear to us. All of a sudden, we understand something in a completely new way. It's like those videos that we see on Facebook of a person who is colorblind putting on those special glasses that allows him to see color for the first time, and the complete expression of amazement and awe when the world around him becomes colorful for the first time. Or the parents who put the hearing aid in their baby's ears, and the baby hears his mother's voice for the first time. Everything changes in that instant, and the world as they knew it will never be the same in a glorious and wonderful way. And so maybe The resurrection is a little bit like that. Maybe it's a little bit like when the whole world has gone into self-seclusion due to a pandemic, and one day we walk out of our houses and look around and realize the earth is different. Our world is different. People are kinder. The sky is bluer. The birds appear to be singing louder. Or maybe there are just more of them because the skies are less polluted. On that day, the gift of human connection is radiant. The feel of that hug means everything. The joy with which I get to stand up here and look out at a room filled with people is overwhelming. Everything is just a little bit crisper. This is what I think the resurrection might mean to us. This is what we get to look forward to. Today is Easter. And so, with our arbitrary human timeline, we have decided that based on this calendar date, everything is supposed to be okay. Today, because our calendars say it's Easter. But it doesn't really work that way. We still have this virus. We are still isolated from one another. So it's important to remember that it took time for people to realize the significance of the resurrection. Mary didn't realize what was happening at first. Jesus's friends didn't believe that it was really him when he came to them in the upper room. It took them time to process the fact that maybe their friend was still alive in spirit form. And so we too need to acknowledge that our resurrection, our awakening, might be more of a process than an instantaneous event. We don't know yet what it's going to be like for us as we come out of this pandemic. We don't know when we're going to come out of this pandemic, but we will come out of it. Eventually, we will. It might not be an instantaneous resurrection. It might be more gradual. It might be a slow, quiet awakening. The awakening that comes with one tiny realization at a time. The realization of, wow, I've been so busy that I had no idea how exhausted I was. The realization of, oh, I couldn't see the skyline, but wow, that's really beautiful. The realization of, man, I was totally out of touch with my body and its natural rhythms. And slowly, each one of these realizations takes us on the path of transformation. Until one day we wake up and we realize, I'm a new person. I really have been transformed, and I didn't even notice it. We wake up one day and the sun is out and the sky is blue and the birds are singing, and we say to ourselves, it is a new day. And we smile because we know we've been transformed.
It's a song called A New Day. stopped and looked around, found a place for me where I could lay my head comfortably. I rested there a time till I found peace of mind. I dreamed of what could be, felt the call of life taking me. I rose up off that bed, stood on my feet and said, I'm headed for the light. I felt that warm sun burning bright, and it's a new day, it's a new way, and it's a fine sight, the warm sun burning so bright. And I climbed a little hill, sat in a quiet tune. A meadowlark sang a tune, and the sun warmed me through and through. And I'm finally free of the doubt. I want chance to changes now. I'm letting love take control, guide me on my way home. And it's a new day, and it's a new way, and it's a fine sight, the warm sun burning so bright. And my love knows where my heart should go, and it feels just right, the warm sun burning so bright. Yeah, it's a new day, and it's a new way, and it's a fine sight, the warm sun burning so bright. I see that warm sun burning so bright.
Thank you, Paul. I think what we're going to do is Amanda recorded a beautiful rendition of Blue Boat Home for us to sing together. So I want us to sing together on mute with Amanda, Blue Boat Home, and then I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll open it up for our joys and conversations together. So let's, if you have your order, well, I don't think you need it. Amanda did such an amazing job with this. So you don't even need your order of service.
Below me, I feel no motion.
So